Hi there, Steve Kaufman here today to do a video in response to the wonderful video that Benny the Irish polyglot and his friendly polyglots put together to congratulate me on 10 years on YouTube. I will put a link to the video up in the description box. I've even got my jacket and tie on here because Benny has a bow tie in his, and I feel I have to be a little formal in my response, although I have my golf shorts on because I'm going golfing. Thank you very much. I'm blown away by the video. And I always like to take a lesson from things that happen and somehow relate them to language learning. So there are two things that sort of come out, sort of strike me in this video. First of all is the sheer effort that went into putting the video together. Effort, wit, creativity, cooperation. And it's something that I admire in Benny, and that is, you know, he has an attitude which is just do it. Whether it be just speak the language from day one, or in the case of putting a video like this together, it's a lot of work. You can think it up, that's one thing, but to actually go ahead and do it and make it happen, that's another thing. And all of the people who participated in this video, not only did they put a lot of thought and probably several trial runs into their participation, but these are also people like Benny who have put the effort into learning other languages, many languages. And again, it's not as some people like to say, oh, well, you have a talent for languages. It's because these people decided to just do it. I think that's a Nike slogan or something. I hope I don't get into trouble for using it. But any of you out there who's ever thought of learning a language, it starts by just doing it. The second point that I want to make is that the people who are on that video, all of whom I have met, except for I think Michael Campbell, they're representative of the polyglot community, people that I met in Montreal last year, in Bratislava recently, that I'm going to meet again in Montreal on the 25th of August. These are the friendliest, supportive, most mutually encouraging group of people I have come across. And I have been in diplomatic circles, in business circles, and these are the best people. And any one of you who has not been to a polyglot conference or who hasn't dipped your toe in language learning, I suggest you get going. You will never regret it. And each language, every language, has its own reasons for being worthwhile learning. And I'm going to try with my, I have been away from some of these languages for a while. I'm going to try to comment to each of the participants in the language that they used. And I will even just do it, commit to providing subtitles, which, because I'm sometimes lazy, I don't always do when I make videos in other languages. All right, it starts with Benny. And of course, he begins by speaking English, so I'm speaking English, and I've already mentioned Benny, but I'll get back to Benny in different languages. Then we had Lindsay. Es una persona muy entusiasta, una persona que puede inspirar otros a aprender idiomas. Muchas gracias, Lindsay. That was Lindsay. Then, if I remember correctly, Benny came back in sign language. I can't do sign language. I can just do, hi, Benny. That's about all I can do. In sign language. I'm not sure I'll ever learn sign language, but I respect you for having learned it. Then I think we had Chris speaking Danish. Jag ska inte snacka dansk, jag förstår dansk, men det räcker med svenska. Men tack så mycket, or however they say it in Danish. And Chris is a great guy, and very warm person. And I thank him for apparently inspiring this video by discovering the fact that I had some kind of an old chair that I bought in a I guess it was a garage sale or something. I can't even remember, or a second-hand store. Then we had Oli. Jag måste, nej, det är in Swedish. 你講嘅廣東話，你講得好準喎，你講得好過我好多倍。我講廣東話嘅時候咧，我個老婆會鬧我，話我講得錯晒喎，你講得好嘢喎你。That's Oli speaking his wonderful Cantonese. 好多謝你啊. Thank him very much for his kind words. Then we had Benny. Eu non posso falar o português como Benny. Benny fala com um acento brasileiro que eu não posso imitar, mas só posso dizer que tenho muito envidia, não só se pode dizer, por a maneira que Benny fala português. Then we had Connor. Dziękuję za... Dziękuję, no, it's difficult. Dziękuję za що ти сказав про мій одяг. Так? Ми були разом у Львові, і то був дуже, скажімо, цікаво бути з тобою у Львові. So that was Connor in Ukrainian. And then we had Jan speaking Dutch. I'm not even going to attempt Dutch. Jan is a great guy. I met him on several of these occasions. Look forward, hopefully, to seeing him in Montreal. I'm not going to attempt Dutch, but I may learn Dutch one day. Mike, 那你说什么呢？我没有听清楚。你的意思是说，这个说就是从开始的时候说出来，还是就是进入哈？这两个干什么政策啊？就是彼此有矛盾，但是有另外一种那个学习办法呢，就是把这个全句子就是写下来，那可能是，但是我不完全同意，因为我觉得最基本的这个怎么说因素呢？那是这个词组，所以我比较就是注重学习词组。但是每一个人有他所最这个喜欢的、最爱用的那个学习办法，没有什么问题。谢谢你的这个一些说明。That was in Mandarin for Mike Campbell. Then we had Benny, italiano. No, io vorrei viaggiare in Italia con Benny e mangiare spaghetti e parlare sobre tutte queste cose, l'apprendimento delle lingue e tomu podobne, come si dice in ucraino. What else did we have? Lydia and Petro. You know, I had a great time in Slovakia. Mal som veľmi nádherný čas v Bratislave. Tam sú veľmi priateľskí ľudia. Thank you for everything you did for the Bratislava polyglot gathering. And then we haben also Kerstin hat auf Deutsch gesprochen und hat also Jana und Judith, wie sagt man, präsentiert, ja, ich weiß nicht. Und dann, wir haben gehört, wie Jana spricht auf Japanisch und Judith auf Esperanto. Ich habe also gar nicht versteht. Aber, also, 日本語できるんですよね。だから、どっちかというと、嫌なの言う、その、ことをね、私は、もちろん、同感ですよね。私、どっちかというと、インプットを重視する方ですけれども、しかし、その言うことを、これを理解できたわけですよね。日本語わかるからね。しかし、unfortunately, I don't speak Esperanto. However, let us say, I do recognize that Esperanto is a wonderful language to learn as a means of encouraging students to learn languages because it's easier to learn, apparently. And therefore, once people achieve success in learning one language, Esperanto, that may very well encourage them to learn other languages. So, there you have it, my response. But beyond anything else, I want to thank the people who put this together. I very much appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing most of you in Montreal, August 25th to 27th. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't forget anyone or didn't forget any language. Bye for now. J'avais oublié de parler en français, donc voilà, me revoilà en tenue de golf. J'allais quand même pas remettre mon veston. Mais il y a quelques jours, c'était le 14 juillet, et ça m'a rappelé jusqu'à quel point je suis reconnaissant à la France. D'abord, j'étais en France comme étudiant, enfin étranger, mais j'avais une bourse du gouvernement français, donc c'est les contribuables français qui m'ont payé mon séjour en France. Et le français, c'est la première langue que j'ai appris à parler couramment, c'est-à-dire deuxième langue qui, par la suite, m'a donné cette confiance de parler d'autres langues. Je sais que je peux apprendre. Et non seulement cela, comme c'est le cas d'ailleurs pour toutes les langues qu'on apprend, j'ai appris tellement sur la culture et la civilisation française. C'est une richesse que j'ai obtenue à travers la langue qui me donne des sentiments d'être, je sais pas, plus, comment dirais-je, d'avoir plus d'ampleur dans ma vie, dans les choses auxquelles je peux penser, la façon que je peux m'exprimer, les gens avec lesquels je peux parler, enfin, et plus que ça encore. Et c'est une expérience que j'ai répétée à maintes reprises avec d'autres langues, mais ça a commencé avec le français. Donc, je tiens surtout, donc je m'excuse d'avoir oublié le français dans la vidéo, et je remercie non seulement Benny et ses amis, mais je remercie la France pour cette possibilité qui m'a été donnée il y a déjà plus que 50 ans dans le passé. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.